Up with KREM begins now.
Right now on Up with KREM, a relentless fire is burning right now in Okanogan County. Hundreds of people are being forced to evacuate. We are tracking the wildfires threatening the town and surrounding areas.
And it's a bit hazy in the atmosphere as we kick things off on this Tuesday morning. 7 a.m. and temps in the mid-60s. They're set to soar later today, though.
And the Spokane City Council voted on an extreme weather ordinance last night after butting heads with Mayor Woodward.
Hundreds of people used the spaces in Riverfront Park and in libraries throughout the city, and there was still plenty of space.
What City Council decided and how the mayor feels about it. Well, good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Dana Marie McNichol.
It's good to have you here with us. I'm Tim Pham. We are tracking breaking news from overnight. Hundreds of people who live in Nespelem are evacuating their homes right now as at least 3 wildfires continue to burn on the Colville Reservation this morning.
Now here are some viewer photos that we received of the scene last night. Officials with the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Indian Reservation say that all 3 fires were caused by lightning. A Chewia Creek fire is the largest fire, burning over 1,000 acres.
Officials say the fire is burning towards the town of Nespelem and several structures are at risk, including homes, tribal facilities, and outbuildings. Help from the Department of Natural Resources is expected to arrive this morning.
So here are the evacuations in place right now. Take a look at your screen. Here's a great map, a representation. Level 3 evacuations are in place for the town of Nespelem, the Colville Indian Agency, and residents along Ojai Flats along Cashy Creek Road. That means residents need to leave right now. An evacuation center is running out of Nespelem Community Center. A Red Cross shelter is also being set up in the Cooley Dam gym.
An evacuation notification was sent, but it may be your only notice. State Route 155 is open to evacuate away from the fires, and there are several power outages and road closures in the area this morning. We, of course, will continue to track those throughout the morning, and we'll check in throughout our show on Up with KREM. And we are committed to keeping you informed. More details on these fires and evacuations can be found always on KREM.com.
We'll send you a link straight to your phone. All you need to do is text the word fire there on your screen, 509-448-2000.
Well, early on this morning, from a lot of those wildfires burning around the region, we have a bit of a smoky haze in the atmosphere. You'll probably notice the sun kind of looks like a glowing ball in the sky. Actually, don't look at the sun. But if you see it out of the corner of your eye, nothing you can do about it. As we move through the morning, temperatures will eventually rise, but for now, we are in the 60s from Moses Lake to Spokane, Coeur d'Alene up into Sandpoint. Now is a great time in those areas to kind of open the windows and let some of this cool air in. If you smell smoke, go ahead and shut the window. It doesn't necessarily mean that the air is at the point where it's harmful to breathe, but it is starting to get there, so it's better to err on the side of caution. Another way to think about this is if you look out your window and you can't see your neighbor's house crystal clear, it starts to get a bit hazy. That would be another time to close the window. Or if you step outside and you can't see more than a couple of miles, that would also be another time to just say, hey, air quality is probably dropping. Heat advisory in place until Wednesday at 8 p.m. Temps in the mid-90s to near 100 degrees both today and tomorrow, and then eventually cooling later in the day on Wednesday. And for now, it's nothing but sunshine in the forecast with a little bit of a smoky haze in the atmosphere. The storms we're monitoring over in western Montana are starting to wind down. Some of those moved through parts of North Idaho overnight and thankfully are now coming to an end. We were watching temperatures climb from the mid-60s up to about 90 by noon and up near 100 by later on this afternoon and staying in the 90s even as the sun sets tonight.
The extreme weather in Spokane this summer created a rift in Spokane City leadership. But last night, the Spokane City Council voted 6-1 on a revised extreme weather ordinance.
Right now, Brandon T. Jones joins us from the newsroom. He has more information on how the city is implementing the ordinance.
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Dana Marie. Today, the city will reopen the temporary cooling centers at the Loop Carousel and in 5 Spokane public libraries. The carousel will open this morning at 11 a.m. and will remain open until the temperature is forecasted to drop below 95 degrees. This is one of the requirements of the city's new extreme weather ordinance. Now, let's talk about the 3 other requirements. The city will also require easier access to the cooling center. People will not be required to attend a church service or pass a drug test just to be in the air conditioning. 3, there needs to be enough space in these centers for vulnerable people. And 4, it requires the city to be ready for these needs year round. And even though it passed through the city council last night, there was still one no vote.
It just says sufficient to meet, but it does not provide a number. The mayor pointed out that in her plan, it was enacted during the heat wave, it was sufficient to meet 1,000. Well, if that's not enough, what is the number that needs to be met so that we don't run into a situation where it's insufficient?
Some council members say the ordinance needs more details about things like transportation, storage, and even the way they measure the temperature. The council members who passed the law said they can add more details later. The ordinance only needed 5 votes to pass. Right now, the cooling centers will be open through tomorrow night based on the current forecast.
Our team is committed and working nonstop to bringing you complete coverage of wildfires burning throughout our region.
But before we jump in, we do want to remind you of that keyword on your screen. Text the word fire 509-448-2000. It's a great resource. We'll send that information straight to your phone.
So by far one of the biggest fires burning right now is in central Idaho. It's the Snake River Complex fire, and it's pushing about 78,000 acres. It's 0% contained, and there are level 3 evacuations for nearby homes.
Now in central Idaho, the Dixie fire is growing now more than 15,000 acres. That fire is 0% contained since it last started on Monday. Right now, fire officials tell us it's mostly being driven by wind. And also taking a look at our air quality right now, Spokane has moderate air quality this morning. If you're usually sensitive to low air quality, you should consider reducing time outside under moderate conditions. Now, areas highlighted in orange is unhealthy for sensitive groups, which means sensitive groups might experience health effects and should limit time outdoors. Red means unhealthy. That means everyone might experience health effects, with members of sensitive groups experience more serious effects.
So a section of the North Cascades Highway remains closed this morning.
This comes as crews try to contain a wildfire west of Winthrop.
The highway is closed between Silver Star and the Early Winters Campground. This is in response to the Cedar Creek fire burning southwest of Mazama. The fire caused by lightning already burned more than 75 acres. No word yet on when the road will reopen, and drivers should plan on using Highway 2 or I-90. This morning, we are continuing our Boomtown coverage. Today, we're focusing on bidding wars.
Yes, bidding wars are on almost every single property currently.
I've been a realtor for over 26 years, and I've never seen a market like this.
After the break, tips on how to be more competitive and make a competitive bid.
Plus, a Coeur d'Alene native made history when he was drafted in the MLB's second round. Brandon T. Jones is following this story out of our newsroom.
Kook fans all across the globe should be rejoicing about this one. Kyle Manzardo, the first baseman out of Washington State, had his dreams come true, and you'll hear a bit more about him later in the show.
And we have our heat advisory in place both today and tomorrow as temperatures soar to near 100 degrees, if not higher, in parts of central and eastern Washington into parts of even North Idaho. The good news is there is a little bit of relief in sight. Temperatures fall back into the 80s by the time we get into this weekend. The bad news, though, is that with ongoing drought across much of the inland Northwest, that will create high fire danger and a need to look out for fires on those days. It's likely we'll see a red flag warning in place by the time it gets here.